It's recorded.
Is it? Oh.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. How can parents help students be prepared? Make sure students receive a full night's sleep the night before. Plenty of rest. Make sure students eat a nutritious breakfast or arrive at school in time to eat breakfast. And we'll make sure that if they get here without breakfast, we'll make sure that they get something to eat before the test, so their brains have all the energy that they need. Make sure students have a pleasant and stress-free morning. That's hard to do sometimes. Because I wake up in the morning and before I've had my coffee, it's kind of stressful around the house. But I want to tell you something about brains. You know that your brain uses about 25% of the body's energy? Not your muscles, not your other stuff, your brain. All right, so we'll save the fighting and everything for after the past test. You just make a list of everything that you want to get on about, and you get to that on Thursday. Make sure students dress comfortable, perhaps in layers, so they're able to adjust to the temperature in the room. You know, we won't be able to get up and go out and go all around, so they'll kind of be in one spot. So we want to make sure that they're comfortable.
And also keep it a little cooler than normal so they don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
So they might
It's
want to wear a
very
hoodie.
quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Encourage your children to be confident and do their best. They're as prepared as they're going to be right now. So, prepare students by sending them to school with sharpened number 2 pencils. And even if you don't, we have plenty. Stay positive. Thumbs up, everybody. One of the most important things parents can do is take an interest in their children's schoolwork. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and showing interest. We do appreciate all of your support. We really do. That's the end of that one. This is what Ms. Watson, our literacy coach, sent to us. Test taking tips for pass. These are geared towards the students, and it is the A, B, C's of test taking tips. Think positive, don't panic. Attitude. Have all the materials you need, number 2 pencils, library book, etc. Be ready. And I don't know about, do you guys let them bring comfort items like a little blanket or a pillow,
Yes.
bottle of water? I even have kids, they'll bring like their Lucky Charm. There might be a little toy they have or a small stuffed animal or something like that. And it helps them relax before the test, because this is the one that really stresses them out the most. I think the writing one is probably the biggest stressor.
It's totally independent.
Yeah, the independent writing, completely independent writing. Writing complete sentences. C stands for complete sentences. Sometimes part of the test itself is whether or not you can follow directions. D, directions are important. Answer the easy questions first. Skip to the hard questions and come back to them. Easy does it. Since the test is paper and pencil and not on the computer, instead of taking 30 minutes on a hard question, they can skip a hard question, do all the ones that they can do more quickly and more easily. And then when they come back, they can feel relaxed and have plenty of time to concentrate on that one question. If you spend 30 minutes on question number 2, and you got the whole test left to go, you get a little stressed out and you want to hurry up. So we encourage them to skip questions, but just to make sure that they come back and finish. When you finish, go back and check your work. It may help you spot a careless error. Finished doesn't mean finished. It is okay if you know how. Read all the answers. Decide which ones are obviously wrong, and of course this goes with the multiple choice. Choose your best guess from the answers left. Guessing. Educated guessing, not just wild guessing. Okay. Yeah, eliminate answers that you're pretty sure are wrong, and you might narrow it down to 2 answers, even if you're not quite sure, and then try and choose your best one. If you don't understand the instructions, raise your hand and ask your teacher for help. Help. If you work too fast, you may make silly mistakes. If you work too fast, you may make silly mistakes. Judge the right speed for yourself, but don't waste time. You want to kind of pace yourself along. Judge. Only, always, all, and never mean with no exception. These are important words in questions. Most, generally, and may mean some exceptions, and some exceptions may be possible. So we're always looking for keywords in the questions. If you find a word you don't understand, look at the words around it. Sometimes this will give you a clue as to the meaning of the word. Look for meaning. Mistakes should be erased very carefully. Mistakes should be erased. On those, on the bubble-in sheets, those are read by a computer. So if it looks like there's two answers there, then it'll count it as a wrong answer. So if you change an answer, you have to erase it really good. Never give up. A quitter has yet to pass a test. Never give up. Only give 100%. And I was not the model for this guy. Only 100%. Give it your best shot. Pay attention to what you were doing, not to other kids in the room. Pay attention. How many times have we said that? Your consideration during a test may mean the difference for other students still taking the test. So, quiet during the test. Anxiety has lowered more test scores than not knowing the right answer. All the worrying, all the stress. So, try to relax. Take a few deep breaths and do your best. Watch where you mark. Stray marks could decrease your score. Again, stray marks on the bubble-in sheet where they're answering the multiple choices. It's read by a computer, and stray marks can just, computers don't really think, they just see what they see. Check to see how you are pacing yourself. Slow down if you're going too fast. Remember, this is not a timed test. You have all the time that you need. We'll make sure you get lunch. We'll make sure you get lunch. After reading the question, stop and think about what is being asked. Try to understand the question before you decide on your answers. Valuable information about what you already know and need to learn is found out through testing. Valuable information about you is what we learn when you take a test. We, Sharon Intermediate School students, are ready for PACS. We are ready. Extra effort is worth it. Of course, it's hard to find a word that starts with X. X. Extra effort with a capital X. You can make a better score if you know these ABCs. You can do it. The end.
Very good. You can take Alice Trebek's job when he retires.
Alex Trebek's job. This is the scoring rubric, and you can't read it from there, but you're going to have a copy in just a minute or two. What we want to do now is take a look. We're going to take a look at some writing samples and let you guys score them and see how it matches up with what the official paid scorers scored. And here I'll give you a little information before we go. On the past extended writing, the rubric outlines the scoring system. The writing is scored on a 15-point scale. There's 4 domains or areas of writing. You get 0 to 4 points for your content and development, and you'll see what all that means. 0 to 4 points for your organization, 0 to 3 points for voice, and 0 to 4 points for conventions. Conventions is editing and catching all your errors. Here's the rubric, and you'll have one in there. Content and development. Here's what the rubric says. Presents a clear central idea about the topic. That means they actually need to state what the topic is. They fully develop the central idea with specific, relevant details. The topic is developed with specific details that pertain to the topic. Relevant means they stay focused on topic. Sustains focus on the central idea throughout the writing. The writer stays on topic. I don't know how many times we say maintain focus, stay on topic.
And I think when I'm conferencing with my kids, I'm finding that they have a clear central idea, but they don't necessarily fully develop it, like, you know, tell enough details and give examples in their writing. That's what I've seen in talking to my kids. They got that clear central idea. You know, you need to make sure that the reader knows what your prompt is if they never even saw it. You want it to kind of be in your introduction, but fully developing, that's something that we've had to work on.
And we have worked the past few years on developing content before they ever start writing paragraphs. An effective introduction, body, and conclusion provides a smooth progression of ideas by using transitional devices throughout the writing. In the introduction, they need to introduce what the topic is and what their focus on that topic is. And then they need to provide details and development. In the body, they'll provide lots of details and lots of development. And the conclusion provides a closure by adding some final thought, maybe summarizing or something like that. And a smooth progression of ideas means the ideas are all in a logical order, not all mixed up and helter-skelter. And they change from one idea to the next. The change from one idea to the next is natural because they're using transitions like first, next, although, finally, things like that. And even if they just use first, second, third, and last, those are transitions and they count.
That's something we've been talking about too, that they, you know, they just jump right in that next paragraph, and I said, why not say first of all, or next, or, you know, like I said, towards the end. We've been working on transitional devices and phrases.
Precise and or vivid vocabulary appropriate for the topic means good, strong action verbs and adjectives, as well as sensory images. For example, instead of I walked to the store, you could say I trudged to the store. You know? Or my mama told me to get over here. But what moms really say is march yourself right over here. Right? Phrasing is effective, not predictable or obvious. Reading should sound like speech and should have the rhythms of human speech. We encourage our kids to kind of mouth out the thing. You know, they won't be able to talk out loud on the test, but if they whisper to themselves, they can hear how it sounds. Varying sentence structures to promote rhythmic reading. We teach simple sentences, compound and complex sentences to provide interest, rhythm, and a different variety, so all the sentences don't just sound the same. I got up in the morning, I put my clothes on, I ate breakfast. That will get monotonous after a while, and that'll drop their score. Awareness of audience and task. Tone is consistent and appropriate. This one is a little harder to deal with. It's not quite as concrete as the other ones. But different audiences require different language and tone. For example, a letter to a friend complaining about lunch would be different from an essay designed to address problems and solutions in the cafeteria. If they were going to write an essay to Mr. Edens saying we have a problem and I have a solution, it would be different than a letter to a friend. It would be different than a text.
That's what I tell my kids. Don't talk, don't write like you text, please. Don't do that, please.
And conventions. Evidence of a consistent and strong command of grade level conventions means they don't have to know everything, but they're expected to be able to use the things that have been taught up through 5th grade. Grammar, the sentence structures that we just taught, subject and verb agreement, correct present and past tenses, and other things. Capitalization, they know most of their capitalization rules now. Nationalities, religion, geographic names, personal titles, names of streets, names of oceans. They know most of those things. Punctuation. The main punctuation things they're looking for are using commas, semicolons, quotation marks. The colon was newly introduced this year, so they don't hit that too hard. But quotation marks, commas, semicolons, as well as having periods in the right place. Spelling. Not all words, but a thorough knowledge of spelling rules and common words. For example, conventionality, if a child used that, they might not count off if they misspelled that a little bit. but a word like shipwreck, which is a compound word, of 2 words they should know how to spell, that might count against them. And here again, they're not counting off for 1 error or 2 errors, but if there's a lot of grammar errors, they'll count off. If there's a lot of errors in more than 1 category, they'll count off. But 1 or 2 errors doesn't really bother anybody. Oh, here's a piece we have to practice on. We're gonna want to score this one?
Let's see, which one's that? I don't
You
know
haven't
that
seen this
prompt. I'm not familiar with that. Let's see.
This prompt was, this is actually a persuasive piece. Convince your class to go to a certain place on a field trip. Choose a place you would like to go and convince your class to go. My class has to choose the next field trip. I picked a place that I think is a blast. My class could get their picture made with parrots and the people that live there. If we went during festival season, my class could watch them cook a pig underground. We could go visit the wonderful beaches. It's so peaceful and quiet there. It's like you're in your own little world. Can you guess what this place is now? It's Hawaii. I thought that Hawaii was great, and I hope my class does too. When we get to go, and if it's possible, I would like my class to stay for a month. Let's have the rubric, the paper with the rubric. Now, what's going to happen is 8 people will actually read this piece. 2 people will read it 1 time and score it for content development. 2 more people will read it and score it for organization, and 2 more will read it and score it for voice, and then 2 more will read it and score it for organization, and then 2 more for conventions. We'll start with content and development. They have to have a clear central idea, and here, nope, can't type this. Here, my class has to choose the next field trip. I picked a place that I think is a blast. And that's a clear central idea. We understand what the child is going to write about. And then, did they fully develop their topic with a lot of specific details? My class could get their picture made with parrots and the people that live there. If we went during festival season, my class would watch them cook a pig underground. We could go visit the wonderful beaches. It is so peaceful and quiet there. It's like you're in your own little world. Can you guess what this place is now? Well, it's Hawaii. I thought that Hawaii was great, and I hope my class does too. When we get to go, and if it's possible, I would like my class to stay for a month. So on content development, if you look across your, does that go across or down yours?
This one goes across too.
Okay. To get a score of 4, presents a clear central idea about the topic. It fully develops a central idea with specific relevant details, and sustains focus on the central idea throughout the writing. For a 3, it presents a central idea about the topic. It develops a central idea, but details are general, or the elaboration may be uneven. Focus may shift slightly, but is generally sustained. That means if they go off topic. And then for a 3, you might not know what the central idea is, and they may really go off topic. Do you want to try and get that score?
Say, Tristan.
I have some cards. See if I have numbers on the inside. I do.
You go to 3. Why wouldn't you go to 4?
Or he slightly sustained focus in his work.
These are highly technical cards that we call every pupil response cards, or EPR cards. Very, very high level. What it actually does is, and you'll see as we use it, everybody will hold up a card, and in an informal way, we can see what everybody's answer is.
One more.
And we can see who's. We can see what everybody's answer is, and we can kind of judge who is understanding and who's not understanding, and make some decisions about what we want to do with the kids next. If we want to pull a small group or something like that. So y'all want to give it a score? And we'll tell you what we would score it.
I need to go back to the paper and reread it. I'm a rereader.
You want to take a little look? Yeah, we can do that. Where we're ignoring errors, we're ignoring everything except we want to know, does it have a clear central idea about the topic? And do they stay on topic the whole time? And are there lots of specific relevant details? Do you need to be bigger?
Probably just.
I think you'll lose it if you go bigger.
I can't remember how to make it bigger anyway.
What would they have to do for you to give them a 4, Tris?
They have to sustain focus.
You think they got off focus?
What's everybody showing? 4, 4, 3, and a 3. Okay, and you'll have the same thing when scorers score it. One person might give it a 4, another person might give it a 3, and so their ending score would be 3.5. They'll take the average of the two scores. So if we said this was a 3.5 or a 4, I think we'd be in a good range. There is a clear central idea. There's lots of good details in here, and he does stay on topic. Lots of festival season. We could watch him cook a pig underground, visit the beaches, all of those things. Okay. Now we'll take it again, and this time you're going to look at organization. To get a 4, and you have this on your paper over there, an effective introduction, body, and conclusion, a smooth progression of ideas by using transitional devices throughout the writing. For a 3, it has an introduction, body, and conclusion, and it provides a logical progression of ideas throughout the writing. That means things are pretty much in order. For a 2, they might attempt an introduction, body, and conclusion, but one of those things might be unclear or might be missing, might be weak, ineffective. If his ideas are simple, or repetitious, or random, then we get a 2. A 1 would be something that was very random, and something where there might not be an introduction, or there might not be a conclusion, or a body. All right, y'all decide on organization. I'll show it again. Is that ready? Show what you picked. What do you think, Miss Bird?
I'm hovering 3-ish, 2.2, 3-ish, because I think the ending is weak.
Yeah, I was too. I was,
I like it until the ending. I think the ending is weak.
and
I would
it
get
lacks,
cough drops.
and it lacks some of the transitional devices that
That's
you
what
need.
I was gonna say. Davon
Um,
knows if you don't have some transitional
Yeah,
phrases.
we
it's
like to
gonna-
see the transitional to take you smoothly from one idea to another. Between a 2 and a 3, I think what we'll get, maybe 2.5. You guys are good. You guys are really good. But it does have an introduction. My class has to choose the next field trip. I picked the place I think is a blast. That's a good introduction. It does have a conclusion. When we get to go, and if it's possible, I would like my class to stay for a month, but that's kind of weak, isn't it? It's a little bit weak. That could have been better. So, yeah, somewhere between a 2 and a 3, 2.5-ish. Good job. All right, we're going to take a look at it again, and this time we're going to talk about voice. 3 is the highest score you can get on voice. I don't know why they chose 3 instead of 4. But precise and vivid vocabulary, appropriate for the topic. Phrasing is effective, not predictable or obvious, and it should sound more or less like human speech and have that kind of rhythm. And varying the sentence structure to promote rhythmic reading. Awareness of audience and task. Tone is consistent and appropriate. For a 2, both general and precise vocabulary. Phrasing may not be effective and may be predictable or obvious. Some sentence variety results in reading that is somewhat rhythmic, and they are still aware of audience and task. But the word strong awareness is gone. Now it's just awareness. In 1, simple vocabulary, repetitive phrasing or things that are confusing, no sentence variety for 1.
Take us
But
back, Mr.
I'll take it back. We'll take it back. No, we'll. Okay.
What you think, Davon? I always tell my kids a 3 means it's good, a 2 means it's right down the middle, and a 1 means it needs help. I mean, it's easier than having 4.
All right. Are y'all ready? Show it. I gave it a 3, and everybody gave it a 2. I could be wrong. What would you give it?
I would give it a 2.
A 2. There's some things that I like. I picked a place that I think is a blast. I mean, he's chosen his audience, right? He's speaking to his classmates, right? Because he's trying to convince his classmates. My class could get their picture made with pirates and people that live there. One is specific and one is kind of general. If we went during festival season, my class could watch them cook a pig underground. We could go visit the wonderful beaches. It's so peaceful and quiet there. It is like you're in your own little world. I kind of like that.
Are we still on organization? I'm sorry.
No,
this is
we're on
voice.
voice. We're on
Yeah, I
voice.
do like the voice.
I kind of like that, yeah. And then, can you guess what this place is now? Well, it's Hawaii. I thought that Hawaii was great, and I hope my class does too.
There's some different kinds of sentences. I tell my kids, I
There's-
don't want just all simple sentences. I want to see some compound. I see compound and complex.
There's variety. He creates interest. I thought, when I was reading it, I thought, he should have told us where he wanted to go. But he was obviously saving it on purpose to surprise us at the end, or to hope somebody might guess before he got there. I thought that Hawaii was great, and I hope my class does too. When we get to Hawaii, when we get to go, and if it's possible, I would like my class to stay for a month. So I did give it a 3.
I always try to be too hard. That way,
Yeah. But everybody else gave it a 2, so I could be
if you
wrong.
score
I
them
could be wrong on
partially,
that
then,
one.
I like this kid. I mean, when I read his paper, I liked him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what voice is about.
it's about
gonna
it's like you
chaperone
see
that
their
trip.
personality coming out.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'm gonna
Chaperone's free.
chaperone that trip.
Chaperone's free. All right, let's do the last one, and then we'll get another paper.
We've got
and
several.
We'll
I
do it. We'll do it live.
Two.
Okay.
Okay, so-
Oh, no, I didn't want another paper. This time we're gonna do, we'll do conventions. And you look for the subtle differences here. Strong and consistent command of grade level conventions. This one is an adequate command of grade level conventions. This might be errors in one category. This might be several errors in 2 or more categories. And this one provides little or no evidence of having command of grade level conventions. It really would be barely readable. Lots of misspellings, hard to get through. You have to stop and figure out everything before you can
Speed
go on.
bumps. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think on this one, we kind of know it's not a 4 and it's not a 1. Not perfect and it's not unreadable, so.
What you think, Devon? You think it's a 3 or a 2? I mean, there are a few mistakes. When you think about adequate and limited, I think I would say it's closer to adequate than limited. That's what I think. What you think, Fuller?
For me,
You 22?
hold up. I'm going against the grain again.
What you got?
I went with a 2.
Me too.
I did too.
A 3, yeah, I can see a 3. I went with a 2. There's a lot of errors in
Well, there are
capitalization.
some misspelled words for
Lots
sure.
of, lots of.
You see, basically you have 4 categories. You have capitalization, you have the way they use grammar, punctuation, and spelling. I see a lot of capitalization errors. I see several spelling errors.
Repeated words.
Field trip and carrots, because I was
Field
like,
trip.
look like potatoes.
Carrots,
Carrots.
festival, season would be a word they would. These are not uncommon words for 5th graders. They should be able to spell those. Plus, they have a dictionary available. They can use a dictionary on this day. So, underground is a compound word. It's not 2 different words. There's no period here. There should be a comma here in their compound word. There should be a period here. Impossible. So we're looking at capitalization errors, spelling errors, and punctuation errors. That's why I would give it a 2. So what do we end up with overall? We ended up with a 3.5, and a 3.5, and a 2.
Well, I thought it was a 3 in organization. Is that right?
A
3 in organization, a 3.5 in content development. Boyce, was it a 3 or a 2?
I think we'll have to go with 3 because I was the only one. So we're looking at 9. We're looking at this student scoring a 10 out of 15.
Which would be a B on the scale that I grade, you know, 13
Yeah,
through 15 is
a
an
10 out
A.
of 15 is, I think, is at one end of the MET category. I think 14 and 15 would be exemplary, and 10, 11, 12, 13, I think, are MET. It may even go further than that. It may be 13, 14, 15 for exemplary. And when I look at that as a 10, I think I might want to score it higher than a 10. It's a pretty good piece. All right. Let's skip this other one so we can get over on the other one. All right. Now you try it. Who, me? Yeah, you. You just thought she was cute, so I put her up there.
All right, I'm gonna let Ms. Fur pick which one we're doing.
Okay. So
These are our choices.
We did this one in class.
Did y'all? Dave, I'll probably remember both of those, I think.
So take a piece, score each category,
This would be harder to score.
and total it up.
This is kind of.
So which one do you want us to
Put
do?
you guys right to work, didn't we?
Can I use my homework back?
Password.
And this one?
Okay.
You know, we're always going to make you do something when you're here.
They can see this one, Crystal, and see that this is, we see this.
Your baseball practice would just be late.